I spent 15 years as a detective investigating unfaithfulness cases, and I'm about to show you the 7 behavioral patterns that proved a spouse was being unfaithful in over 90% of my cases. These aren't relationship guru theories or some woman's opinion blog. These are law enforcement techniques that held up in divorce court and help judges make custody decisions. And I guarantee that your wife is already showing at least 3 of these signs right now. But you've been trained by society to ignore them, dismiss them as paranoia, or explain them away as normal life stress. Before I reveal these investigation techniques, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel so you'll know the truth before she thinks you're completely clueless. Hit that like button and let me know in the comments. What city are you watching from? It's incredible how many men worldwide are dealing with this same situation. Now, let's dive into what I discovered during all those years of investigations. Here's the first sign that made me start investigating every single time. Sign number 1, digital communication lockdown, the phone fortress protocol. The first sign I always looked for was a dramatic shift in how she interacts with her phone around you. She used to leave her phone face up on the counter during dinner, answering texts in front of you without hesitation, but now it's always face down or completely out of sight when you're together. Her notification sounds have mysteriously disappeared, and she's developed this new habit of immediately flipping the screen when you walk into a room. Listen up, guys. In my detective days, I learned that guilty people instinctively create physical barriers between their evidence and their partners. That phone contains every conversation, every plan, every lie she's told. When someone suddenly starts guarding their device, like it contains state secrets, they're protecting something they can't afford for you to see. This isn't about wanting privacy. This is about concealing evidence. But experienced detectives look deeper than just phone positioning. We documented specific behavioral patterns. Does she take her phone to the bathroom every single time now, even for 30-second trips? Does she charge it in a different room overnight when it used to sit on her nightstand? Has she suddenly developed an interest in privacy settings and app permissions she never cared about before? Has she started using her phone in the car before coming inside, like she's clearing something? These aren't random behaviors, they're systematic evidence management. The sophisticated ones even install secondary messaging apps that look innocent, or use social media platforms you'd never think to check. They'll keep the obvious messaging apps clean while conducting entire relationships through seemingly innocent channels like Instagram, direct messages, LinkedIn, or even gaming platforms. Some delete and reinstall apps daily to avoid message histories. I remember investigating one case where the husband noticed his wife's phone was always silent during family dinner, but he could hear it buzzing from other rooms throughout the evening. When we finally examined her device during the divorce proceedings, we discovered she had set custom notification schedules. Her affair partner could only reach her during specific windows when her husband wasn't around. She had programmed her phone to be completely silent from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day, which was exactly family time. Pay attention to consistency. If her phone behavior has changed permanently, not just during stressful weeks, you're seeing evidence of systematic deception. Random privacy isn't the same as calculated concealment. The next sign I'm about to reveal happens in 99% of cheating cases, and it's something your wife is probably doing right now while you're watching this video. Sign number 2, the schedule scramble, unexplained time disappearances. The second sign I always looked for was sudden inconsistencies in her daily schedule and accountability. She used to tell you exactly where she was going and when she'd be back, sometimes even calling if she was running 10 minutes late. But now, there are mysterious gaps and vague explanations that don't add up when you think about them later. Here's the thing from my detective days. Time is the one thing cheaters can't manufacture. If she's having an affair, those hours have to come from somewhere. She can't be in 2 places at once, so she starts creating flexible time blocks where her whereabouts become deliberately unclear. This requires planning, coordination, and systematic lying about her daily activities. But this goes way beyond just being late from work occasionally, or having a busy week. We're talking about systematic schedule manipulation that becomes the new normal. Her grocery trips that used to take 45 minutes now take 3 hours, and she comes home with barely anything to show for it. Those lunch meetings with coworkers happen more frequently and last longer, but she can't tell you much about what was discussed. She's suddenly volunteering for work events that never existed before, or attending conferences in your own city that require her to be gone all day. The experienced cheaters even create believable cover stories with verifiable elements. They'll actually go to the gym for 30 minutes, then spend 2 hours somewhere else, knowing you might check her fitness app or ask about her workout. They'll meet a friend for coffee for 20 minutes, then use that as an alibi for a 3-hour absence. The partial truth makes the whole lie more believable. During one unfaithfulness investigation, we tracked a woman who told her husband she joined a book club that met every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The book club was real. We verified it existed, and she attended exactly twice in 4 months to establish credibility. The other 14 Tuesdays, she was meeting her secret relationship partner at a hotel 20 minutes from the bookstore. She had parking receipts from the bookstore area to support her story, but the timestamp showed she never stayed more than 15 minutes. Book club was real. She attended exactly twice in 4 months. The other 14 Tuesdays, she was meeting her affair partner at a hotel 20 minutes from the bookstore. Pay attention to patterns in her new schedule. If she's suddenly busier than she's ever been, with activities that are hard for you to verify or join, those aren't coincidences. Cheaters need predictable windows of time, and they'll manufacture them by changing their routine. Sign number 3. The vanity investment surge, sudden appearance obsession. The third sign I always documented was a dramatic increase in how much time, money, and energy she invests in her appearance. She's buying new clothes, trying different hairstyles, and suddenly caring about fitness in ways she never did before. Let me break down what I learned in the field. When someone starts an affair, they essentially enter a new dating phase. All those butterflies and excitement about impressing someone new translate into major changes in how they present themselves. It's not about looking good for you anymore. But seasoned investigators know to look for specific patterns in this vanity surge. Is she buying lingerie she never wears around you? Has she started shopping at stores she used to consider too expensive? Is she suddenly interested in makeup tutorials or fashion blogs that were never on her radar? The sophisticated ones even use this transformation as a way to explain other suspicious behavior. They'll claim their new workout routine explains why they're gone for hours, or their wardrobe upgrade justifies mysterious credit card charges. I once analyzed a case where a woman spent $8,000 on a complete wardrobe makeover over 6 months. She told her husband she was having a midlife confidence boost. In reality, her affair partner had commented that he preferred a certain style of dress, and she was systematically rebuilding her image to match his preferences. Pay attention to who this new version of her is designed to impress. If she's dressing up for occasions you're not part of, or if her style changes seem targeted toward attracting someone specific, that transformation isn't about self-improvement. This upcoming behavioral pattern is so common that I could predict it in every single adultery investigation. And most husbands miss it because they think it's actually a good thing. Sign number 4, the intimacy ice age, strategic emotional withdrawal. The fourth sign I consistently documented was a calculated withdrawal from emotional and physical intimacy with you. This isn't about occasional tiredness or stress. This is systematic distancing that creates emotional space for someone else. Here's what 15 years of investigations taught me. When someone's emotional energy is being invested elsewhere, they have less to give at home. But it's more deliberate than just being distracted. They're actively protecting their feelings and saving their best emotional moments for their affair partner. But experienced detectives recognize that this withdrawal follows specific patterns. She stops asking about your day with genuine interest. Physical affection becomes mechanical or disappears entirely. Conversations stay surface level because deeper connection feels like betrayal to her new relationship. The sophisticated ones even manufacture reasons for this distance. They'll pick fights about minor issues to justify sleeping in separate rooms, or claim they're going through a personal phase that requires space. These aren't organic relationship ebbs. During one investigation, I interviewed a husband who couldn't understand why his wife suddenly found him irritating after 12 years of marriage. Every conversation turned into an argument. Every gesture annoyed her. What he didn't know was that she was comparing everything he did to her affair partner, and he was losing every comparison. Pay attention to how deliberate this distance feels. If she seems to be actively avoiding connection rather than just being busy, and if this coincides with other suspicious changes, you're witnessing emotional energy being redirected towards someone else. Sign number 5, the social circle revolution, strategic relationship reshuffling. The 5th sign I always tracked was major changes in her friendships and social connections. Old friends get abandoned while mysterious new people become central to her life, often with explanations that don't quite add up. As a former detective, I know exactly how cheaters operate when they think they're being clever. They need to create social environments where their affair can exist without overlap with their marriage. This means systematically restructuring their entire social world to accommodate deception. But this goes deeper than just making new friends. She's strategically distancing herself from people who know you both well, because those friends might notice inconsistencies in her stories. Meanwhile, she's building relationships with people who only know her affair version, not her married version. The experienced cheaters even use social events as cover for meetings with their affair partner. That girls' night out, that work networking event, that fitness class with her new friend, these become perfect alibis because they're partially true but allow for significant deviations. I remember one case where a woman gradually stopped seeing her closest friends from college, people who had known her for 15 years. She claimed they were going through different life phases. In reality, these friends asked too many questions about her new behaviors and the time gaps in her stories. Pay attention to how she talks about old friends versus new ones. If long-time relationships are being discarded, while mysterious new people become incredibly important very quickly, you're watching someone reorganize their life to accommodate secrets. The next sign I'm going to show you is the one that made me close cases faster than any other evidence. Because once women start doing this, they can't stop themselves. Sign number 6, financial behavior transformation, the money trail mystery. The 6th sign I consistently uncovered was dramatic changes in how she handles money, spending, and financial privacy. New expenses appear without explanation. She becomes secretive about purchases, and financial habits that were transparent for years suddenly become classified information. What makes this so predictable from a law enforcement perspective is that affairs cost money. Hotels, restaurants, gifts, new clothes, gas for secret meetings. All of this has to be funded somehow. When someone starts systematically hiding financial information, they're concealing expenditures they can't explain. But sophisticated financial deception goes way beyond just hiding credit card statements. She might start using cash more frequently, open accounts you don't know about, or make purchases she claims are for legitimate reasons, but the timing and amounts don't match her explanations. The experienced ones even create financial cover stories that are partially verifiable. They'll actually spend money on legitimate items, but inflate the costs to hide affair-related expenses, or they'll claim business expenses that are actually personal spending on their secret relationship. During one investigation, we discovered a woman had been taking cash advances from credit cards and telling her husband the money was for her sister's medical expenses. Her sister was fine. The cash was funding hotel rooms and expensive dinners with her affair partner every week for 8 months. Pay attention to financial behavior that breaks established patterns. If someone who was always open about money suddenly becomes defensive about spending, or if legitimate expenses don't match the lifestyle changes you're observing, follow the money trail. Sign number 7, defensive response amplification, the guilt projection system. The 7th and final sign I documented in nearly every case was an escalation in defensive responses to normal questions, often accompanied by aggressive counter-accusations that turn every conversation into a fight about your behavior instead of hers. Protect yourself from this psychological manipulation. When someone is living a double life, every innocent question feels like an interrogation. Rather than risk exposure, they launch preemptive attacks on your character, your trust issues, your paranoia, anything to redirect attention away from their suspicious behavior. But this defense mechanism follows predictable patterns that experienced investigators learn to recognize. She doesn't just get defensive, she gets specifically defensive in ways that make you feel guilty for asking reasonable questions. This is calculated emotional manipulation designed to train you to stop investigating. The sophisticated ones even use your past mistakes or insecurities as weapons in these defensive campaigns. They'll bring up times you were wrong about something, or moments when you exhibited jealousy, to frame your current concerns as character flaws rather than legitimate observations. I remember one case where every time the husband asked about his wife's new schedule, she'd immediately accuse him of being controlling and bring up a fight they'd had 2 years earlier about him being too possessive. She weaponized his past behavior to shut down his present-day questions about obvious inconsistencies. Pay attention to how these defensive responses escalate and whether they're proportional to your questions. If asking where she went for 3 hours results in a 2-hour argument about your trust issues, you're experiencing guilt projection from someone who knows they're living a lie. You've just learned the exact same techniques I used to solve hundreds of adultery cases, but knowing these signs is only half the battle. By the time you're witnessing 3 or more of these behavioral patterns simultaneously, you're not dealing with work stress or midlife changes. Each sign represents a measurable behavioral shift that follows the same deception patterns I investigated for over a decade. Your peace of mind is worth more than living with systematic deception, and your time is too valuable to waste on someone who's working this hard to betray you. When someone's daily behavior includes multiple counter-surveillance tactics, they've already shown you they're living a double life. The question isn't whether these signs prove cheating, it's whether you're ready to stop ignoring what your detective instincts are already telling you. If these detective techniques helped you see the truth more clearly, subscribe so you won't miss the daily videos that could save your marriage or your sanity. Smash that like button and share your own experience in the comments. Have you noticed any of these signs in your relationship?